What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. Happy post-quarterfinals to everybody who celebrates. I'm Sean Woodland alongside Lauren Khalil and Tommy Marquez. 2/3 of this panel did go through the quarterfinals workouts. How'd it go for you two?
Lauren, you want to go?
You go first.
Yeah, I mean,
man,
that's a loaded question, I know. So
I did all 4 of my workouts in a 48-hour window, starting Wednesday night and ending Friday afternoon.
okay.
They went pretty well. There were some limitations with that. Like I did well in the lift event. I did well in the first event, the intervals one. I knew I was going to take my medicine on the strict handstand push-ups, and I did, but I did all right. I hit my goal. But the one where I think I underperformed was the 50s workout. I did that back to back with the skill workout one, and from the get-go, like anyone who was there and watched and cheered me on, I was planning on doing it with some friends. Someone else wanted to do another quarterfinal workout and needed help with it, so I did. And then that resulted in me doing it by myself. And I was just a big old pouty fish face. Just like, I actually, like, my second round of the 50s was faster than my first one, because the first one was just spent like huffing and puffing every time. And
then, for yourself.
Yeah. So I have some more on my overall thoughts, but I later on in the show, but I had a good time. It was a really good time for a lot of people in our gym, and a lot of people participated. We had some people move on to semifinals for age groups. And so I thought it was a pretty good sequence of tests for a lot of people to get involved with. And it was a more engaged version of quarterfinals than I've seen in the past, like from our whole affiliate perspective.
Yeah, it was cool. We had quite a few people. I shouldn't say quite a few, a handful of people at MC Fit who went through them, and they seemed to, enjoy. I'll put that in air quotes, but it was a good challenge for them. Lauren, you had to do yours. You had to make the best of your circumstances there at the old tactical games.
I did. Unfortunately, I was probably over an hour from any closest gym. I was stuck on a acres and acres and acres ranch. So I had somebody who was competing that weekend bring me a rower, bring me dumbbells, bring me a women's barbell, and
Nice.
all the things that I needed to do out at this ranch. The weather did not cooperate, so I was doing the wall ball burpee box jump over workout in the rain, in the mud at 6:45 a.m. with no music and just the thoughts of myself.
Great duo
And,
by the name of Milli Vanilli once said, "Blame it on the rain."
I didn't get attacked by any scorpions, snakes, or spiders, so I was really happy about that, and I am putting it on the record, I will never, ever, ever complain about doing wall balls inside an affiliate again, because it can always be worse.
It can always be worse, and I'm a little upset that my Milli Vanilli reference went way over your head. So.
Yeah,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
I will say I liked it, Sean, but I will say that your idea of a successful sequence, it sounds very much like a toddler coming home from preschool with an active imagination. So like, hey, how was your day? It was great, Dad. I didn't get attacked by any spiders or aliens or dogs with shields on them.
Oh man. Yep. All right.
Yeah. So I did 3 of them out in the wilderness, and then 1 I finally had a little bit of time when I got off my flight to go do in the gym. And
you know what?
I learned.
Here's the thing. You had every excuse to not do them, and you did. So good on you, Lauren Khalil.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to go through our headlines. A lot of stuff happening around the CrossFit community and beyond. We are going to have a deeper discussion about some of the big storylines and stuff that caught our eye during quarterfinals. And then we'll do our PRs and no reps, community support, all that good stuff. And I'll save this to the end. I have some gym etiquette advice that I need. I'm going to put this out to the panel because something happened to me the other day. Nothing big, but I'm just curious.
All right.
So, but first, we want to welcome a new sponsor. Give them the horn. That is Garmin. New wearable Garmin. We're all wearing the Epix Pro. We're super happy to have Garmin on board. I love this thing. It is it's got everything. It's got it's a watch. It's got like a 16-day battery life. I just finally charged mine. I didn't even need to. I was like, you know what? I feel bad. I haven't charged it in a while. I should probably just go ahead and do that. Like, I had 6 days left on the thing, and I was like, I'll go ahead and do it. And you can get notifications on it, emails, calls, texts with your iPhone or your Android smartphone. It has preloaded activity profiles from high intensity training, cardio, strength, yoga, Pilates, a lot more. It's a caddy if you get out on the golf course.
It knows my club lengths better than I do at this
It's
point.
crazy. And the cool thing is it's a one-time purchase. So there's no subscription fee. You buy the watch, it's yours. The data is all yours. There's a cool app that goes on your phone. There's all kinds of customization options that you have. It gives you a training readiness score based on your sleep quality, your recovery training, load, and more. Look, so you know if, hey, I really need to go hard today or need to take it easy. Gives you training status so you can get insights and know whether you're training productively, peaking, or if you're strained. Different performance metrics are in there. It gives you a recovery time. It lets you know how long you need to recover before your next high effort workout. You have heart rate variability status, wrist-based heart rate, sleep tracking, all kinds of great stuff. And I am barely just scratching the surface of this thing, but I absolutely love it. Big fans of Garmin. If you guys are looking for like a wearable that does literally everything, check them out.
Yeah,
I've been wearing Garmin for.
I feel a little bit like a primate in a Lamborghini right now. Like I'm just trying to figure out how to use all the bells and whistles.
It's like that scene in what is it? It's Zoolander where they're like trying to, the computer like, that's so much cool. All I know is like it's got a cool flashlight on. Look at that. But bow, you just turn that thing on at night. You got a little secret agent wristwatch light. It's really neat.
Agent.
Yeah, but you can scan the QR code on your screen if you guys are watching this and check it out. They have all kinds of great models. It's Garmin.com is the website, and they had like the Epix Pro is the one we're wearing, and we're looking forward to getting some CrossFit athletes on our show who know more about this, who've really gotten into it and know how to use all the features. But I've been tracking my workouts, and what's cool too is like if you track a workout, you can go back in and put in notes about, okay, this is what it was, this is how I was feeling. It's as complicated as you want it to get, and it gives you as much data as you want. So Garmin.com, super happy to have them on board, and I absolutely love my watch. So.
Oh yeah, I wish I had this during my last ultra race where I can basically track elevation change, mileage, heart rate, like heart rate at various points too. There's even setups to where like your support team can track you based off of your watch on the GPS too. So it's man, I think I'm gonna have to reload that 100K just to see how this bad boy holds.
There you go. Yeah.
I've been using it for about a year and a half. By far my favorite trackable. So I am a little bit ahead of you two in knowing which features.
You definitely are.
But I just saw they have a jet lag feature that you can log like the time of your flight, what time zone you're going into, and it'll give you like advice on when you should go to bed and how to reset your clock. So those are other features that I got to dive more into, but it's great. I love everything about my Garmin.
Yeah, you can customize the face. Tommy and I are still rocking the generic face. Lauren's already prettied hers all up.
I like red and black.
There you go. I do too. I'm a big red and black fan too. But yeah, all kinds of great options. You can put Spotify on this thing. Like
Lauren's got a fancy band.
Yeah, all styled out.
Oh yeah.
Garmin, one of our new sponsors, and super happy to have them on board. Check them out. I absolutely love this thing, and I think you guys will too once you see what it is capable of doing. All right, headlines. Let's get into that, and we will start with quarterfinals are done. We're going to get into that here in a second. That leaderboard is still being finalized, but the first thing was, and this was reported yesterday on the barbellspin.com, and that is that for the first time ever, athletes are going to receive uniforms for semifinals provided by Northern Spirit. Now, these are optional for the athletes to wear, but regardless, they're going to receive these as a memento. And if you go on the barbellspin.com and you check out the article, it has all the details about that. So you can they have like all the way they look. They have all the stuff that the athletes are going to be given. I'm a fan. Like you give me uniforms at semifinals, like that is the hardest time ever to identify athletes because they all wear different stuff. There's no numbers. Every now and then you'll get a team that does us a huge favor and puts like the team name and their name on the back. That's awesome. I haven't seen the back of these things. I don't know if they have a number and a name on the back, but any sort of thing that has some sort of number that you might be able to read to make our lives easier, I'm all for. But again, these are optional.
I don't
I was
love
to say
that.
where I'll ask you both. Where's the line for you guys in terms of IDing people? Because I think for teams, when there's so many people out on the floor, it's certainly helpful. But if the name and the number are not prominent enough for the announcers to see very clearly and distinguish quickly, is it better or worse than have everyone being wearing different stuff so you can at least call out the fact that they're wearing something unique?
Yeah, if everybody is in white shirts on the floor and that is the size of the font, I don't know about you, Sean. You're wearing glasses, so I think we're in the same boat, but there's no way I'm going to see the name. No, I said our eyes are both
Yeah,
bad.
no,
We can't
it's a good point. It is much more, I think it is much more necessary for teams. But if they're all the same color, that's a problem because a lot of times for us, if I'm trying to draw the viewer's attention to a certain lane, I can say he's in the blue top upper left-hand part of your screen. So yes, that is something to consider. I mean, I would hope that there are different colors.
Yeah, I think in the very least, it's a very cool gesture from Northern Spirit to kind of up the athlete experience at this semifinal. Because let's be honest, for the majority of people going to semifinals, this is the end of their road.
Yeah,
so they get something that signifies I was an athlete there beyond just like the basic. I think back in the day, Reebok used to give them like Reebok Regionals 2020, and on the back it would say athlete, so you could like know that you were an athlete. But like to have something with your name, your number, your affiliate, whatever it is, your associations on that, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think if anything, it's a really cool memento, but since it's optional, I foresee most athletes, at least the ones that have sponsorships with an apparel company, they're going to be representing those.
I think the key thing of it not being mandatory, I think there were probably some red tape behind the scenes around it being mandatory, not just from sponsor standpoints and administrative, but like athletes would probably, I imagine the PFA would have something to say about whether or not they're forced to wear uniforms that were just announced less than a month before, and it not being spelled out anywhere in the rule book. So for a lot of the big name athletes, it's an appearance fee. It's wearing the stuff. It's supporting their sponsors that are supporting them in a very real way in live competition. So it's a good earning opportunity for them, or at least to like check boxes for sponsors. So I think you'd get a significant pushback from the athletes too.
Well, I'm surprised this wasn't announced earlier because I heard about this in January.
Yeah.
And someone who I think is pretty dialed in told me that this deal that Northern Spirit, they had a very large impact on semifinals being able to go off as planned.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool that they're getting an opportunity to work with, and then I'd have to think about it now because it's a different proposal with the splitting off of the age groups and the adaptives. But I mean, if you think about what Northern Spirit is doing, there's 7 semifinals with 40 athletes each, at least on individuals, right? So you have 500, just rough math, 560 athletes wearing your stuff plus the teams. That's more than what you're going to get at the games.
For sure. Absolutely. And if you go to their website, they're already offering apparel that has CrossFit logo on it.
You glitched out there a second. You
turned into a robot.
If you go the Northern Spirit.
Oh yeah, they have CrossFit branded stuff too.
Right. So I mean, good on them. Anybody that's going to support this, great. And I hope it works out. And again, teams, I think, Tommy, back to your point that you made earlier, if the teams wear them, that would be ideal because that's chaos out there. And it would be very nice to know.
And different colors.
Sure. Or just alternate it. Just give me 3 colors and then we're okay. It's not pivotal for the individuals, especially when you get to those later heats when you have 10 to 12 people on the floor and more. We're probably going to know who they all are, right?
Mhm.
So, and with the heat sheet, you can match it up.
Mhm.
So teams, put on your uniforms and help make our lives easier.
Please.
It's greatly appreciated. Yeah. Okay. Next, we found out that Katrin Davidsdottir is not going to be competing this year. She announced this on Instagram, and she wrote, "It is with a heavy heart that I share that I will not be able to compete in this 2024 CrossFit Games season. I've been dealing with back injuries pretty much my whole career, but this year will be the first one that I am not able to fight my way through." And then she goes on from there. But here's the crazy thing, and Tommy and I were talking about this when we first heard about it. This is the first time since 2008, when the games were still in Aromas, that neither Katrin Davidsdottir nor Annie Thorisdottir will be at the games. One of those two, if not both, have been at the games every year since 2009.
That's
Dang.
it's an incredible streak, and one that's unfortunately coming to an end for two of the women that like really have been two of the biggest pioneers in the women's division in terms of bringing it to a mass market appeal, right? Like you had Annie as one of the first kind of like queens of the sport, winning back to back, and you had a transitionary year when Sam Briggs was the fittest on earth, and you could even
Right.
argue that maybe she might have been on 2014 hadn't it not been for a single handstand walk. And then Katrin, her duels with Tia were legendary in 2015 and 2016 specifically.
Mhm.
And I think not only did it catapult Katrin to the forefront, but um, you think the ripple effects of just those performances that she had. It launched CompTrain as a
Yep.
huge camp, as the premier camp at the time, overtaking the likes of Invictus and NorCal and all those things because of what Katrin was able to do after not qualifying. And then I think those losses ultimately, you talk about like the adversity effect that has happened for whether it's Froning or Fraser. That same thing happened to Tia by virtue of her battles with Katrin.
Mhm.
And so the I don't know, what's the better word beyond ripple effect just of her performance over these last decade and a half is I can't be overstated, I think.
Well, then Katrin, you mentioned Annie Thorisdottir. Annie was the reason like Katrin got into it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's it stinks that all these things, all these eras are going to come to an end, and I don't know what the future holds for Katrin. I'm assuming she's going to try to come back. She, given what she did last year, I think there's still plenty of road left there. But it just, yeah, I don't. You get used to it's just like you don't feel right having the games without Annie or Katrin there. It's like, oh yeah, the games are here, and that's where of course, we got to have them here.
Yeah.
But now it's an opportunity for somebody else. So
But it's also a clue in that like these stars and people that were anchors for us in the sport, like eventually there comes a time when your days at the top are done. And I think if you talk to anyone 2 years ago, they thought it was done for Katrin when she didn't qualify, and then she proved them wrong by coming
yep,
back and
yep.
finishing top 10. But she will, by the time she in theory comes back, she'll be 32, and starting to move towards the proximity of the age group divisions,
Mhm.
and who knows, maybe that comes with a shift in mindset, a shift in lifestyle approach, and shift in priorities.
Yeah.
So ultimately what that is, it's like this is an opportunity to appreciate what she's done for sure, and what she's been able to accomplish in the sport, and how many top tens and how many podiums and how many times against whatever the naysayers online might say, she's just been able to prove people wrong. So I think it's a hats off to her for sure.
Mhm.
And then moving on from Katrin, another athlete, Bailey Rail, has also announced that she will not be competing this season, but not for injury reasons. This is more of a found a different calling that I want to pursue just temporarily. But I think from what I remember seeing on Instagram with the clip that was pulled from, I think it was a Mayhem podcast with our good friend Rory McKernan,
Hmm.
she said, I'm going to come back. This is just
Yeah.
temporary for now.
Yeah, and there's on the flip side of that, this is just someone is feeling pulled in another direction, and she's
Yeah.
young and has the opportunity to do so. So, um, yeah, I she on her Instagram, she links to the video of her discussion. So anyone that is curious, you can go learn a little bit more about that. But yeah, it's fascinating just how much now we have in terms of turnover at the games of people that won't be back this year.
All right, another retirement. This happened today as we record this on Wednesday, the 24th. And this is one I know, Lauren, you've known about for a little while. And that is our good friend, Rob Kearney, is retiring from professional strongman competition. Rob has been in the game for 15 years, I think. He's a former American record holder in the log press. He is a fantastic human being. He's part of that HWPO crew up there under Matt Fraser. He's an affiliate owner. And like I said, if you've ever had a chance to meet him, just a great guy. He's on Death by a Lot with Lauren, has some really good perspectives about some of the things that I think CrossFit can take from the strongman world to be more successful, from putting on maybe shorter competitions and how to get the athletes in front of people more often. He'll be competing, Rob will, at World's Strongest Man I think it's in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina is where that competition is. And that is in May. And then once he does that, it's a career for him. But just want to wish Rob all the best. Congratulations, and congratulations on a great career as well. Enjoy that time off, Rob. You've earned it. I just hope he still dyes the beard from time to time.
I hope so too. And he is looking for fake beards that people can put on that he will like custom dye.
Which is your idea, by the way.
I really hope that it follows through, because can you imagine as you're on your competition stage and you look out and just everybody in tie-dye beards? Like, amazing.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I hope it works.
And we'll have Rob on a lot more, I think, in the near future to get his perspective not only on CrossFit stuff, but also on the world.
Going anywhere.
No, he's here. I've said this about a couple people. If you ever meet anyone who says Rob Kearney, that guy's a jerk, don't ever run away from that person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rob Kearney's a genuinely good human being, and if you ever have a chance to meet him, talk to him, take it, because you will be better off for it. You will have a positive impact on your life. Okay, next thing we want to talk about is apparently there's a video issue going on with some athletes. They in quarterfinals, Laurie Cunha is one of them. They allegedly uploaded videos to YouTube that had copyrighted music in them. And these are videos of workouts that they did during quarterfinals. YouTube took the video down, and then that resulted in a 0 score from CrossFit. Is that more or less, am I understanding that correctly, Lauren?
Yes, that is correct. And I'm pretty sure we've had this issue with athletes in the past years. I mean, it's not new that YouTube will take down your video if there's copyrighted music in it. I think, I don't know if there needs to be like a section in the PFAA handbook on how to properly upload to YouTube, or if coaches or managers need to like walk their athletes through this. It's just a shame to see, because again, just another technical issue that could be avoided if the knowledge was there, or if the information was there, or I mean, there's so many rabbit holes we could go down, but hopefully it gets resolved from CrossFit. I know that she posted on her Instagram and said that she had reached out to them and let them know, and is sending timestamps of like the workout to prove that she did it within the window. Right. So currently now at 2:45 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, April 24th, there still is a 0 with her score, but still time to see if that changes.
And so just so we're clear, PFA does have an article up about competing online score submission best practices. It goes through all the different things, whether it's like having a stand for your phone, reliable recording devices, charging your recordings, doing a test, putting it in do not disturb so you don't get a call. Let's see.
I've got the close up on the screen here too. You need to translate it. But it's essentially, it was 24.1 that got taken down.
Let's see. It also says there is some video upload stuff there too, but and even like on what happens if it goes wrong, how can you fix this? So there's that aspect to it, but there's also the aspect that I think it's important. This is another reason why athletes should read the rule book and read it again, double, triple check it, because uh, for assuming Laurie has some sort of access to a gym or a registered judge or a judge in general, that is not a video is not required to submit a score for quarterfinals. In the rule book, it states that you just need to the video can be requested of you if you have a qualifying score. So you don't need to go through the whole upload process early and ahead of time if you're not submitting it as verification of your score right then. So if I'm one of the top athletes in the sport, if I don't have to upload a video yet just to avoid the technical aspects of it, I'm not.
Right.
I'm making sure I'm at a gym. I'm making sure I have a judge and making sure I trust that judge to hold it accountable. I'll have my multiple angles of videos, and then I'll submit my score normally with a judge that's registered. And when they ask for the video, then I'll provide it to them, because there's no reason to run that risk, right? And even then, when you do that, you can use it as unlisted, or maybe even do it as a private to avoid it, or just mute your video. Like, get to the point, and this is pretty simple and probably something most people should learn. You can go up to the point where you have to announce yourself and show your weights, and then right before you start your music or whatever and start the clock, just mute the video.
Yeah.
So
iMovie is great. All Mac computers have it.
Yeah, but I think, Tommy, you bring up a really good point about get a judge, validate your score, have the video ready to go in case you need it. That way you don't
you don't even need the judge to validate too, right? Because like affiliate managers don't have to validate scores. It just allows you to submit the score without a video.
That's what
yeah. And it's now, granted, Laurie's been away for a little bit because of the tainted supplement ban, but it's one of those things like, man, you gotta, and I'm guilty of it myself, and we'll find out later, but like, you got to make sure you cross the T's and dot the I's, and don't make it harder on yourself than you need to.
But you're not a professional athlete.
Correct.
Quote unquote professional athlete.
And she's not the only one who has had this issue. There are other athletes who have done this. Yeah, it's just a shame that you get to this stage. It's her comeback year, and hopefully CrossFit is able to resolve it, but you hate to see this potentially be the reason for somebody not advancing.
Yeah, I think this sounds like something that should be able to be resolved, because it wasn't like it got submitted late. It got submitted and taken down. So that's not.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of a gray area, but
what's important is that you get the score submitted beforehand. More than likely, when the video got pulled and the CrossFit system recognized that there was not actually a video and zeroed it out. And since there should be record of you submitting an actual score, as long as that's in the record, usually CrossFit game support is really helpful with that. Particularly when we saw it with like Miriam Von Rohr and Grace Walton, who submitted the wrong score.
Yeah.
They just put their reps at the last barbell and not the total reps. And they got that corrected because they had proof of them submitting a score or putting a submission in before the window. And then they were able to provide, some video and proof otherwise. So it's making sure you have a plan so you don't have to put yourself in unnecessary stressful situations.
Yeah. Okay, well, moving on to our next thing, and this will lead us into our discussion on quarterfinals. I want to talk about the Taylor versus the World thing that went on this last weekend, where you had Colton Mertens, Taylor Self, Dallin Pepper, and Jason Hopper throwing down. It was over on the 7 podcast. They showed that. And congratulations to Jason Hopper for winning this whole thing. $5,000 he walks home with.
Yeah.
And I think this, like, the success of that is, to me, it's further proof. And Rob Kearney, speaking of him, has talked about this on Death By, about CrossFit competitions. First of all, people want to watch elite athletes throw down.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly,
clearly,
right. This was 4 workouts over a couple days. That's all you need. You don't need an event that looks like Wodapalooza or the Rogue Invitational. You can get reps ahead is a perfect example of this. 2 people throwing down in a workout. This is not necessarily about finding the fittest. It's about finding who's the best at either this one test in the case of reps ahead, or these 4 tests in the case of what we saw with Taylor versus the world. And CrossFit should be paying attention. You know, we had a great question from one of our patrons last Friday. I think it was Noel Beltran. I'm sorry if it wasn't, who asked about quarterfinals announcements and whether CrossFit should be doing.
Yeah.
Well, in a perfect world, yes, but I don't think that's money they're interested in spending. But stuff like this Taylor versus the world, shows that there's a desire for this, and good on everybody who put this thing on and gave the community something to watch over the weekend. Now, I don't necessarily think this was drumming up interest in quarterfinals, but it was drumming up interest in what these four guys were doing.
Yeah, I think it's also like it's creating athlete stories, right? Because this is a continuation of like what happened in the Open, and in the Open, like I think the biggest winner from all this is Taylor, right? Because
and he made it. Congratulations to him to make it.
There was a little bit of drama about would he qualify because he was outside of the line after the first two tests. Granted, he smacked the other ones, but also in that first workout where he went head to head with Dallin and put up what was basically until the end when Colton submitted a score, had the best time. So like I think that's, people are interested in athlete storytelling. People are interested in athlete storytelling with actual real competitive touch points throughout the season, right? To see them throwing down and the what results of that. And yeah, I think this is a good example of that.
For sure.
Well, and it really created the hype through Instagram because the way that these men were like goofing with each other and creating memes, it just added that extra excitement, and you started getting behind certain athletes to cheer for. And I think that that's something that our sport needs more of. And it's just the tip of the iceberg to get more content like that in the space.
Absolutely. Yeah. So good on everybody for putting that on, and congratulations to all four athletes, and congratulations to Taylor Self for getting the semifinals. Looking forward to watching him compete in the East.
Yep.
Along with
stacked semifinal.
Yeah, that, and we're going to get into that later on. But those are our headlines for the week.